What's your name? Tell me the secrets, yeah. Reasonable regrets, no purpose or pretense. Come on, tell me. From the start.
Here we are at Laguna, under the Yamaha tent with Curtice Thom, crew chief for Josh Herrin. Thanks very much for your time today. Today is ergonomics again. So let's start with the Yamaha R6. Once again, another race bike, a Graves one, and no stock components for handlebars or rear sets.
Or the seat. It's very important for these riders to get comfortable on the motorcycle. If they're not comfortable, they can't get their job done. So we do the best job we can at Graves Motorsports to design the rear sets to adjust to the position that makes them comfortable. Same with the handlebars. We'll give the rider exactly the fit and comfort that he needs to go out and go 100%.
Now, how much time do you spend with the rider on average trying to get them comfortable so they can focus, as you accurately point out, on the job?
Depends on the rider. Some are quite picky and change their minds all the time. Luckily, Josh Herrin is pretty much settled on, it took about a full day of track time, moving the handlebars around a little bit, move them in, move them out, sweep them in, sweep them out, move the foot pegs up and down, get that balance between the seat, the foot peg, and the handlebar, the triangle as they call it, to fit him perfectly.
Now, did you have different bars to try, or was it a set design and then you just manipulated that one design?
The down sweep angle is a set item from Graves Motorsports, and that's due to extensive research and trial and error on a lot of different motorcycles. So we really work from a couple standard components, and of course, if we need to work outside that box, we'll go ahead and just make it in-house, because that's what we do.
And that's the beauty of the R&D too. As you so accurately point out, you see something, you can go produce it and test it.
Right, and the company is able to react in very short time periods to that kind of request.
Now, in this particular case, we have, which we've got some footage of, the handlebars are actually indexed with engravings, clearly, obviously, measured and marked, so that everything, when it gets moved, there's reference points, just like a set of forks where they're indexed with engraved rings.
Exactly. This allows the mechanics in a situation where they have to replace something in a hurry to hit the mark without having to make too many measurements or have the rider available for a final fitment.
And in this case with these handlebars, is the bar a separate entity to the mount?
Correct. That if there was a situation where the bar was to bend, we can replace just the bar in the clamp around the fork tube, speeding up the repair quite a bit.
Now, we also have adjustability in the levers, both for reach and as well as up and down, and stock levers just don't have anything like that.
Well, the newer bikes have an adjustability, however, it's in a position that isn't accessible to the rider while they're operating the machine. And I think most people now have seen that cable that runs from the front brake over to the left-hand side, and that allows the rider to adjust the front brake lever on the fly as the pads wear, or to get that perfect feel for him. Same thing with the clutch. We put on a GYTR component that has a large wheel on it that the rider with his gloves on can get the clutch cable adjustment set correctly. And they do flip up, which is once again for crash damage. It protects them from breaking off.
Now, in the regards to the rear sets, that seems like Graves has a couple of designs. One where there's a V where it comes off the frame mount, and another where there's two pieces of componentry.
Right, we offer two options. One is a solid mount, which when a rider gets to a point where they feel very comfortable with it, we'll go ahead and make a solid mount without adjustability. That helps narrow up the foot peg position a little bit. That's the trade-off to going to the adjustables. The adjustables offer someone the opportunity to move the foot peg around in a bunch of variety of hole locations. It does not take any special tools or anything like that. It's something that can be done right track side by any mechanic.
And then lastly, we produced a piece on actually being able to move your brake lever and your foot peg for the shifter, which astounded people, that there is that degree of adjustability there. But obviously on a race bike, foot position is another very important component of a rider being comfortable.
Right, with foot controls being part of operating a motorcycle, that has to be, especially with the gear shift lever. The gear shift levers that we offer our riders, we can change the up sweep, the down sweep. Most of the riders need a specific lever, generally to fit their specific boot. And the ergonomics that the boot offers, the adjustability and flexibility that they're ankle has to affect positive upshifts as well as easy downshifting.
And then lastly, let's talk about the seat, because you said that that's a custom application specifically for racing.
Right, Sharkskin's, our bodywork partner, builds the seat bases to our specification, and they've done a really good job. And then we will custom fit the seat base with additional foam to get the rider exactly in the comfort level he wants. Some of them like a real thick seat, some of them like almost no foam at all, so that they get more transfer directly from the seat pad, that seat of the pants feedback that pilots and riders talk about so much. There really is a multitude of options, and each rider has pretty much settled on the same basic format, which obviously is beneficial to both the team for stocking spare parts and for Sharkskins for producing them. But anything could be done in that area, and it really does affect the rider's feel for the motorcycle.
Yeah, I remember the old Superbike tales with no seat, which told you precisely what was going on, and that was so painful. But for some riders, that was exactly what they were looking for in feedback.
Right. I mean, if you tried to ride one of these seat pans around on the street, you would end up with numb butt in no time flat. That is for sure. But it does give the riders the feedback that they need to go ahead and ride it 100%.
Now, we've actually found out and been really interested in that some riders change settings based on the way the track works. For example, Sears is very tight and demanding. Fontana, to some extent, there's a hell of a lot of transition left to right. But on some tracks like Road America, where you're static for a lot of the time and there's not a lot of transitions, they'll do different bar positions. Now, does Josh pretty much keep everything where it is?
I would say that over the last 2 years, we haven't changed it at all. And I do know that many riders think that, okay, I'll sweep the bars back at a high-speed circuit so I get a little bit better aerodynamic position. At a circuit where they have to muscle the bike around, they'll swing them out, motocross style. Really, most riders will come to a preference and then pretty much ride it there.
Well, we greatly appreciate your time, and thank you very much for taking some time to talk us through all the products and that make his job, as you say, easier, because he can focus on what he needs to do, not necessarily being in discomfort.
Well, thank you, and thanks to On the Throttle for coming out.
You bet.